Moving on. We have another very interesting story that is popping up with Njugush. What's going on there?
And now to someone who has organically grown his body, because you'll know how Njugush used to look. But through hard work and determination, he showed us the process, going to gym, eating right. He looks healthy. That is all I can say. He looks very, very healthy, and we're happy for it. However, that's not what we're talking about here. I feel like millennials, like all of us collectively, grew up in this setting where we saw our parents struggle. We saw, we grew up in a recession. We grew up seeing our parents very concerned about stability, very concerned about buying land. As in, am I not speaking the truth? Like your parents, they have bought lands, acres, other places you know you will never leave.
If they can afford it,
if they can afford it,
then they bought it.
They will band together as a circle and buy land. And I never used to understand this because I'm like, ma'am, see, we use this money that you're buying land uko far away to like build what we have currently because we're struggling. Girl, we're struggling. But it's like our parents were very invested and very obsessed with owning land, with being stable, with not paying rent. I think that's even the major part.
Yeah.
Not paying rent. That was the measurement of your success, okay? Even if things are hard, things are thick, your mom is going to be like, at least we're not paying rent. Imagine, sasa, nimesota hivi. I am broke like this. And then there's a landlord disturbing us. And I think we all grew up around this environment. And even like 10-year-old me was thinking about buying land. You know, like I'll grow up, I'll get a job, I'll buy land, and then I'll build. That is not a conversation for a 10-year-old, but I grew up with that mentality. And it seems like even Njugush grew up with the same. We're not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's recommendable, especially in the times we're living in, and especially Njugush, who's saying he's a comedian. And let's be honest, comedy has a very short shelf life. Like, look at Eric Omondi. He's now doing the most trying to stay relevant because the more you're seen, the more irrelevant you become. The more content you put out, the more familiar people become with you. And then they're like, meh, yeah, you used to be funny, but now we need a new act from you. So it's a very short shelf life. So you need to make the most. You need to do the most while you're still relevant and still making deals and still getting endorsements. That's when you do the most with your money so that you don't come around again and start telling people to send you money, sijui till number, I can't, you know, I don't have rent, I'm sleeping outside. We don't want to see this. Anyway, him and his wife on an interview were talking about this, and he says it used to pain him to pay rent for 13,000. Why? Because he grew up in the same setting that most of us grew up in, where your parent has never paid rent. Rent was a foreign thing to you. But, you know, during adulthood, whenever they'd get, you know, like a good gig and good money, his partner, Celestine, would be quick to look up washing machine, quick to look up vacation, while he is looking up things like, you know, real estate. Where are we going to buy land and start building? And they recently moved into their very beautiful home in, I think, last year, and they did a whole thing. And it was a process, let's be honest. Most celebrities will not show you this. But they did. Like, these people moved into this house. It wasn't even finished at the time. It was kind of incomplete, and I just did step-by-step renovations, especially the kitchen. Your renovation, your kitchen, we were like, you know what? Thank you for being real. Because they showed us sometimes it's not always as rosy. Yes, I am a celebrity in this big, beautiful house, but you don't know what's going on inside, okay? It's beautiful in the outside, but in Dani, we are still painting, we are still putting up windows. And I remember even going through the same thing. Like, there's a time we moved, when we were moving to Dagoretti, we moved into a house. I think the cement had not like fully cowcard like on the ground, and
the plaster.
Yes. So now you're moving in, and then like 3 months later, you now have to do renovations for the floor. But now you understand. At least now we're not paying rent. We moved in quickly. Some rooms had to be put windows while we were still there, but you're still not paying rent. And when you grow up in such a setting, you're bound to do the same things.
Absolutely.
You're bound to be pained by paying rent. Yani landlord, ukifikiria hii pesa yote, ningekuwa nimejenga huko Kamulu. those are the conversations we're usually having in our heads. Why? That's how we grew up. We saw our parents do the same thing. But I applaud Njugush. And he's saying the goal is to retire by 45.
I love it.
And I agree with it, okay? No one say that you have to retire at 65 when you're old. You can't even enjoy your money. Please, work hard while you can. Retire early and then enjoy your money, okay? Let your money bring you money.
I feel like, yeah, you need to have not just one, but multiple streams of income. And that's something that we're telling you as we're trying to practice ourselves. And every time Therese says a story, I always feel like, damn, I feel like we grew up in the same house. As in, it's like her stories and my stories are so similar. It's weird sometimes. Yeah. Because I remember when us guys were moving from... we'd gone through a really bad financial space, I remember. And I don't really tell these stories on here, but it was really bad. I think I told her my dad got shot, and then it got so bad because now the bills for hospital are becoming so heavy. We ended up moving into someone else's house. Like, we were living with his friend at some point in Goomba. And then from there, we ended up now living in like a small house, and then we kept now upgrading. But my mom, at some point, she just be like, let me tell you, tunahamia hiyo Kamulu, and we moved to Kamulu. The house did not have, it wasn't plastered. It's like when you just build the house and it is just the skeleton of the house.
Yes.
There is no plaster. There is no water. There is no electricity.
But it is a roof over your head.
You have a stable space to be in. Yani, the steamers, you know, these stars for mafuta, the paraffin lamps. We used to use those before. Now we could now eventually upgrade to a generator, and then eventually when the people of power decided, oh, they can grant us power in Kambulu area, eventually they brought us power. But before that, I'm telling you, there were nights, if you forgot to go and get mafuta for taa, you guys are going to stay in that house in darkness. You're going to do your homework back in school. You become a bat. I'm telling you, waking up at 4 o'clock to go to school because your mother decided that they were going to move you to a land where no one lives, and now you have to wait for a bus. There were only like 3 buses. By the way, what were Dagoreti?
I have trauma. I have trauma. Right now, I can't stand my child waking up like before 7 a.m.
Nah, it's impossible.
Because to
4 a.m.
5:30.
You are like this tall. You literally, you're
to go to school.
Tall. Because we never had matatus. We had 3 matatus. A matatu for 5 o'clock in the morning, like 5 a.m. There was another matatu for 6. If you missed those 2, you will wait until it was 11 a.m. in the day. So basically, you've missed school. Let me tell you, these things are important. But now, whenever I'm in a really bad bind, I'm just like, you know what? At least I have a place I can go to. Like, if all hell breaks loose, I can still go to my house in Kambulu and live there forever. And will you do anything?
Nothing.
No. So the important story about all of these tragic stories that we're telling you in compilation is, it's important for you to think of an escape plan. And I mean, you can stay hungry in your own house. By then, you can stay hungry for a week, but at least you have somewhere to be. Have you ever been in a relationship and then you're being kicked out and you're like, guy, where am I going to go? You know, these are the questions you need to start asking yourself. Please, start figuring out your housing situation. Because if at all anything else fails, at least you have a place you can go and cry in the middle of the night.
Your own house, hapo nje una plant some skuma, some spinach. You just eat from there. Yes,
we planted
we are broke, but lakini tuko na maize. Okay?
And maize and beans. Yeah, we used to cool so many maize every season. It is porridge, it is githeri, it is mudukoi. Yo, moving on to another very interesting
Why do you like potatoes? It's a trauma response.